Hey guys, Kunal here, Bulls on Wall Street. Today I want to talk to you guys about trading IPOs and specifically an IPO breakout strategy. When you think of, right, the big winners of the market since 1990s, you think about like the go-go stocks, right? They were always IPOs, right? Your Yahoos and your Googles and your Amazons, and these things are new, fresh companies, and then they explode. And we've been taught about these IPOs, but they've been mythical creatures. Like, they've been dead for the last couple years. You know, after my boy Chamath, right, kind of blew up the SPAC space with all that pumping of the SPACs and everything else after COVID, there just haven't been very many IPOs. And I haven't been trading them at all. But lo and behold, all of a sudden, this week, everybody's been chatting about ARM. And I'm sitting there in the morning, like, let me take a look at this ARM and what it's all about. It wasn't really in my plan until I kind of woke up in this morning and people were chatting about it. And so if you look here, right, ARM is an AI chip designer. Guys, that is kind of a double whammy right there. So what I mean by that is that AI's been the theme this year, right? You can't have a conversation with anybody without AI, right? Semiconductors have been a theme this year, right? NVIDIA. Why has NVIDIA been so hot, right? NVIDIA makes chips for AI, right? And so NVIDIA's been, right, this beast all year, and it's up from, right, $100 basically to almost $500 over the course of the year. Like, it has been on a huge rampage. And so when I saw this AI chip design ARM, I'm thinking this is something I want to play, especially when I started to dig into, you know, what this company does and how much it makes in its revenues. Guys, the company's like a dog. I mean, their revenues stink. Their profits haven't been really, they've been kind of declining and flatlining. Not really much going on in terms of growth in this company, at least of recent. Their whole pipe dream is that, hey, you know, we're in the chip space and we're going to throw out the word AI. And that's enough, right? Frankly, if it was like a hot stock with a lot of growth, I probably wouldn't have traded it because it would have been a dud. Lately, in the last few years, right, bad is good, the worst is the best, and that's just the way it goes. Turds fly, and we want to be a part of that. And so you can see this thing is just like this, like, right, big gelatinous turd. And so didn't want to really even, this is not something you want to buy and hold, but you definitely want to be, right, you definitely want to be trading this because it's got the themes that we're looking for, right, which is AI and chips. And so I want to be a part of this. The other thing is it's the biggest IPO in the nearly 2 years. And so, you know, we need to be a part of these things, right? We're traders and we want to be a part of this. So I had kind of a twofold thing that I wanted to do today. You know, number one, I wanted to shorten NVIDIA because I was thinking that the money would probably flow out of NVIDIA and go into ARM, right? Everybody wants the new. NVIDIA is up 500% off its lows, right? This ARM is brand new. And so I was thinking if ARM takes off, then, you know, we'll play NVIDIA for the fade and I'll use puts to essentially do it. And so you can get usually a good rip. So, you know, I was doing the 455 puts on this thing and ended up doing pretty good into the close. Like, you went from, you know, $3 to $6 or so. I didn't capture the whole thing, but, you know, it ended up doing its job. And so my big plan for today was short NVIDIA when this thing comes out and then trade this one, right? So when you see ARM, how do you want to trade this, right? So first of all, it was supposed to come out at 1020. It didn't. Okay, so the stock comes out. Now, when a stock comes out, right, you're not going to have any moving averages. You're not going to have anything going on this. And so you got to be a little bit careful, right? But what we want to be doing, right, is just thinking, okay, how can I get into this name, right? I want to try to find ways that I can limit my risk and play this. And so you don't want to ever chase on the first candle. If you chase on the first candle, I mean, you're really going to have yourself some trouble. So be mindful. No chasing on the first candle. So this is just a very easy setup for you guys, right? And that when this stock pops up here, the first candle, see how it like completely reverses? So you got a reversal candle. But what starts to happen is as this bad boy starts to build here, right, at the 55, 50s level, and you can see here you got a little bit of a tail here. So tail here, sellers, right? So that usually indicates they're sellers and the stock's going to tank, but it ends up holding again. And so when it comes out, takes out the anchored VWAP and then this candle, right? I'm thinking like this is going to be a long. So, we ended up long of this in the chat room at 56.50, and I was a little bit early to the trade, but that's the way these bad boys go. So I added this at 56.50, and then I started scaling out along the way, probably about every 50 cents up until about 59.50. So nothing too crazy, but the setup is like, okay, add it here, right? Put your stop loss under. I chased it a few pennies to get the confirmation, and then really kind of my the big spot is going to be here. So I scale out along the way here in multiple spots, right? In the first spike, you always got to sell some off, and then you want to kind of piece out of this. And then what happens is, like, if it holds there, then you can load up some more. Now, if I had like an inside candle or something like that right here, I would have reloaded probably half size, so that I would have got some shares back. But it didn't happen. It just didn't look back, and it ripped right through those highs. But the thing is, I can't chase it up here because you got these two big red candles. And so I'm just selling out of this thing, and I ended up getting out of my last shares at 59.50, which was obviously a mistake because it went to 62. So entry, picture perfect. Thought process, picture perfect. Trade management, definitely a B minus. I have a little bit of trouble holding. One of the reasons why I have a little bit of trouble holding something like this is that I usually use the 9 EMA and moving averages as like a guide, right? And, if I was on a 1 minute chart, I would have had a little bit better guide. But because I was on a 2 minute chart, because 1 minute charts really make me overtrade, I didn't have the EMAs. And so, what happens is, like, right now in hindsight, it looks so good. But like, when you're in it, it looks so damn extended, And I've got to be mindful of that, though, that, hey, these things can go more than we think. And so I ended up just selling out of this at 59.50. But then later on, it gave us a couple opportunities. And so I took 2 more trades on this. So you're always getting an opening trade. And then this one is a lower level setup because it's like still a little bit lunchtime. But like as you started to coil up here and you got this like wide range, you got tighter and tighter at the EMAs. I love this type of setup, by the way. But it is a 50-50 setup during lunchtime, and we're a little bit post-lunch, but it's a little bit early. So I added this thing at 60.25 on the break, and it popped up just a tad here. So I longed at 60.20. I sold half at 60.90. I put a flat stop, at my buy price on the rest. So I sold off half in here, and then it did pop up another 50 cents. I believe I should have actually pieced off another quarter here, and then kept the quarter for 62. But it happened so fast and it wicked back down that I wasn't able to, get out properly. So then I held this as it was popping along the 9 EMA. And then when it kind of busted over the EMAs, I just got out and got out flat on the rest of them. Still, right? You know what? We piece our way to this because I know if it's a true IPO, there's going to be an end of day move. There always is one, right? And so like later on, what you start to see. And as the day progresses, you want to move from the 2 minute to the 5 minute chart. I think that's actually really important. So now we've got this thing, right? So now it's been building. It's hard to catch, right? Because you're looking at this and you're sitting there like, okay, how do I do this? But remember back to the anchored VWAP, right? So we go in, I use the anchored VWAP right at the open, all right? And so now this thing is starting to pull back. And so you don't know where really where it's going to go. But what happens is when it remounts this anchored VWAP, that's your signal right there that this thing is ready to party, right? And so that's where you really want to start looking at this. So this is like where you can take a partial position. I actually did not do it there because, frankly, I was making some phone calls and I had left the chat room for a hot second. And so my alerts were starting to go off, and so I ran back in the computer. As you guys know, I'm traveling. That's why the net's a little bit spotty over here. We've been doing lake life in Switzerland, and then I'm heading to Lake Como. If anybody's going to be around in Italy, let me know. But you can start to see, right, as this thing starts to speed up, I know that in the last 30 minutes, that's the way they usually go. They'll start to speed up. So we reload this thing at 60.75 for the end of day run. So I got 20 minutes left, right? End of day run. So what I'm doing here is on this 2 minute, I'm just looking for a little bit of consolidation here. My timing is always so good. I don't know what it is. Like, it's like because if you just wait for the EMAs to catch up and all this kind of stuff, you're good to go. So I add into this flag right here, 60.75, and then boom, it's off to the races, right? I get this big monster thing here. And so like I'm thinking like, okay, 62 is going to be a little bit of resistance in case it's a double top. So I sell off half at 61.70. Then I sell off another quarter at 62.60. Then I sell off another one at 64.20. And it did end up getting to 66. I'm a greedy bastard, man. I was actually... I was in the chat room celebrating with everybody, like, yeah! And I didn't realize, like, this candle got up there, and I ended up missing the sell at 66. That would have been literally a picture-perfect trade. So I think my entry was good. Could I have been better at the VWAP, anchor VWAP? Sure. But I do like to get into the trades when they speed up. I've never been a fan of getting into something early, just because my risk is low, and then watching it grind and hold it for hours to get the extra like 1 or 2%. I'd rather come in hot right when the movement's about to happen. I just believe that's the most efficient way for us day traders to be. So, I come in a little bit later at 60.75, and I'm just waiting for a flag, right? Like there's nothing too crazy about this. And then you get this epic end of day run. So entry, picture perfect. Think about this. Right, I'm adding this thing. I typed this in at 60.75. Within the same couple minutes, right? Like we're already piecing out of this thing, right? Like these are 2 minute candles. Basically, in like 2.5 minutes, I'm already selling off. Right, I'm already selling some off, and then by the time you're at 7-8 minutes, right, I've really pieced out of quite a bit of this. So hot trade. IPOs are awesome. AI, remember themes, right? IPOs is a bucket of IPOs is a setup that you can trade. IPO breakout, it's been a bucket that I've had forever. It's just not been something that's been in flavor for a while, but maybe this starts to spark it up. Now, in terms of what I know about this company, whether it's good or bad, I don't really know, right? When we're day traders, we look for themes, we look for taglines, we look for potential buzzwords that can cause mania, but what the heck this stuff actually does, right, is beyond me. All I saw was chip, I saw AI, and that's all I need to know, right? And then I'm going to do what I need to do, especially when you got 125 million shares in volume. It basically traded its whole float. So that's when you know that the buzz is there. So guys, hopefully that helps. Sorry about the audio. I don't got any mics or anything like that. I'm running around in Switzerland right now, and so I just want to do a little bit of screen share for you guys. But this is a hot setup. Learn it, love it, smash that like button. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Take care.